And so I'm humbled and grateful to the millions and millions of Californians that exercised their fundamental right to vote.
We may have lost the battle, but we are going to win the war.
Recall rejected. Governor Newsom will finish his first term with an overwhelming vote of confidence from Californians. But Larry Elder made a statement of his own in the recall election. The GOP challenger and former conservative talk show host will join me exclusively.
The federal government has no right to force the states to enforce federal law.
Are the presidential COVID vaccine mandates constitutional? One state is already suing the Biden administration over it. So what comes next for employers and employees? Former federal judge who served under George H.W. Bush, Oliver Wanger, breaks down the legal battle ahead. And our panel ready to weigh in, from Governor Newsom's sound victory to recall reform, and if it was all a waste of time and money. Welcome to Sunday. It's KC24 Sunday Morning Matters.
Now, from your local election headquarters, KC24, this is Sunday Morning Matters with your host, Alexon Balakian.
And good Sunday morning. Welcome into Sunday Morning Matters. I'm Alexon Balakian. Please join the conversation on social media platforms at Real Alexon. Use the hashtag Sunday Morning Matters. Now, along the way, the city of Parlier embroiled in an embezzlement investigation. Is there a cover-up? And why the former police chief is asking for $20 million. Parlier's mayor will join me exclusively. But first, Gavin Newsom's political future seemingly skyrocketing after becoming just the second governor in U.S. history to defeat a recall.
But no is not the only thing that was expressed tonight. I want to focus on what we said yes to as a state. We said yes to science. We said yes to vaccines. We said yes to ending this pandemic. We said yes to people's right to vote without fear of fake fraud or voter suppression.
Well, just 1 hour after the polls closed statewide, the Associated Press and NBC News calling it. Newsom beats the recall with more than 63% of Californians rejecting it. Newsom did not hold any victory parties, just addressing the media. And then, as he tweeted out, time to get back to work. Less than 3 million votes still need to be counted. The official results of the special election will be certified October 22nd. But here in Fresno County, with votes still coming in, more people voted yes to the recall than no. And the candidate behind me, Larry Elder, receiving more than 70,000 votes in Fresno County, the overwhelming favorite on question 2 of the ballot. Mr. Elder, welcome back to Sunday Morning Matters. You also received nearly 50% of the vote on question 2 statewide. I'm wondering, any regrets that you didn't enter the race sooner?
I don't think so. I really didn't know whether I was going to get into the race. I never run for office before except 5th grade class president. I've never really thought about being a politician. I've been in the game of criticizing politicians. I knew how brutal it was going to be. I knew that my private life would be exposed. I knew that things would be taken out of context, twisted. I've had 27,000 hours on radio. I've written 1,200 columns. I figured it'd be a target-rich environment to say negative things about me. So I really wasn't sure whether I wanted to do it. But the more I looked at the candidates, the more I thought that the field that was in there would not likely succeed, the more I felt that I had an obligation to do this. I felt that I had things to say about the homelessness, things to say about the horrible condition of our public schools, especially in our urban cities, about the rise of the cost of living, the way this man shut down the economy of the state while he had his own kids in-person a private school. I felt I had something to say about water, about energy, about our power grid. And the more I thought about it, the more I felt that I had a moral, a spiritual, and a patriotic obligation to do it. But that took some time.
You know, the state GOP decided not to endorse any candidates. Do you think that really played a big role in Newsom's landslide victory on question 1?
I don't think so. I think it was probably a non-factor. My understanding is that the party was about ready to endorse one of my rivals until they found out that the grassroots wanted me. And so they thought the better part of valor would be to endorse no one. So I don't really think it mattered one way or the other. I mean, let's face it. There hasn't been a single Republican elected statewide in California in a long time. So I'm not quite sure whether that would have helped very much at all.
You know, before election night, you did not firmly say you would accept the outcome, hinting towards the notion of any kind of election fraud. But in your speech afterwards, you said you are gracious in defeat. What changed?
Well, nothing changed. I think it was kind of a little bit unfair when people kept saying that I was all but ready to cry fraud if I lost. I wasn't. We have on my website a way that people can contact it to find out, to register any suspicions that they have, whether they're Democrats or independents or Republicans. I invited everybody to go to my website, and if you felt you saw something or heard something that you thought was suspicious, to let us know, and we would investigate it. And we did hear about some things. For example, several people said that they tried to vote and were told they already voted. We looked into that, tracked it down, and every person who tried ultimately was able to vote. So there were some things that were going on. But, you know, I think all of us, whether it's Gavin Newsom or myself, all of us should have a vested interest in making sure that voters feel that the election was conducted with integrity.
You know, a few weeks ago when I had you on the show, I asked if you would run for governor if Newsom defeated the recall. You didn't say for sure, but I'm assuming since you said you didn't win this contest, but you're ready for the war, I'm assuming on the record you're running for governor in 2022.
Well, I said I lost the battle, but I intend to win the war. I'm not sure whether a rematch would produce much of a different outcome. Democrats outnumber Republicans 2-1, and the tactic that they used was not to run ads defending his record on crime, not to run ads defending his record on the rise of homelessness, not to run ads talking about the fact that for the first time the average price of a home in California has reached $800,000. Nothing about his great record on fire management, because it isn't great. Nothing about power, nothing about water. It's all about this being a Republican takeover, and it works. Democrats have been conditioned to feel that anybody who's a Republican is going to do all but reenact slavery. They talked about my position on abortion as if Roe v. Wade got overturned and the matter returned to the states, the pro-choice lawmakers would suddenly become pro-life. So these are the kinds of tactics that they use, and they worked. And I'm not sure whether or not a rematch would produce much of a different outcome.
So you're saying you may not run?
I'm saying I may not run as a rematch for this thing, but I'm not leaving the stage. I've got a pretty big political face now in California politics, and I've become a bit of a national figure as well. So I'm looking at all my options, including, of course, going back to talk radio.
You know, the LA Times featured an op-ed, and it was titled, quote, "Trump branded the GOP a party of racists. Larry Elder as a standard bearer won't help." Your thoughts on that LA Times op-ed?
Well, the LA Times has not been a friend to Larry Elder. The LA Times had a writer who said that I was, quote, the black face of white supremacy. Subheadline, "You've been warned." A few days earlier, another LA Times writer all but called me the David Duke a black David Duke. You know, the LA Times also ran a picture. You know, I was attacked by a white woman wearing a gorilla mask when I was at a homeless encampment in Venice Beach. And the LA Times had a photograph of a woman as if I was slapping her, when in fact she was the daughter of one of my supporters. And the headline was, "Elder involved in attack at Venice Beach," implying I was the one who was doing the attacking. And the woman in the picture contacted the LA Times, complained, and the LA Times removed the photograph but did not change the headline. I was the one who was attacked. Had Barack Obama been campaigning for president and some white woman in a gorilla mask throwing an egg at him, it would be called a hate crime. They'd be talking about systemic racism. They would be talking about this in Bangladesh. But because it happened to me, it didn't seem to matter. Let me just give you one more, if I may.
Yeah.
I have never, ever, ever made a big deal out of the fact that I'm a black person running for governor. I think, frankly, after Barack Obama became the first black president, everything else is now anticlimactic. But if they want to play that game, front page article, New York Times, about my candidacy, all negative, never once mentioned that I'm black, never once mentioned that I would be the first black governor of California, which is fine with me. But on the same page, article, New York Times, about the, quote, first female governor of New York, close quote. Why? She has a D at the end of her name, so her being first was a big deal. I have an R at the end of my name, and all of a sudden I'm no longer black. This is the kind of double standard that I put up with the entire race.
Larry Elder, hey, we appreciate your time here on Sunday Morning Matters. Best of luck to you in the future. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
All right, up next, we're going to head out to the state capitol as state lawmakers are now hard at work looking to reform the recall process. And what comes next for Governor Newsom.